Luc Bichard with SolveAct Life Coaching Services. I've been a certified life skills coach for 22 years, and I specialize in men's issues and what keeps men stuck. Welcome to this interview. Today I have the privilege of interviewing Colette. Hello, Colette.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very, very good. I'm still working on the microphone. Colette has agreed to answer some questions about dating and what it's like to be on the dating scene. And a lot of these questions are just going to be talking about her impersonation, her impression of what that's like. So I'm going to start with the first question, and that is, Colette, what do you hate about the bar scene?
Honestly, I just hate the drunk men. Men feel like when they go to the bar, they have to drink to be able to develop the courage to speak to a woman.
And why do you think that is? Why do you think they have to do that?
I guess because women go to the bar in groups, so it's intimidating to be able to approach a large group of women.
In that it is at times, yes. That makes sense. Do you think men lie when they're in bars?
Men always lie. Yeah, I mean, everybody wants to make the best first impression, right? So maybe not lie, but exaggerate on the truth.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And do women ever lie when they're in the bars?
Absolutely. Women lie just the same as men. We always want to do the best impression, the best first impression. And again, maybe not lie, but exaggerate on the truth.
Okay. What do you think would happen if men and women are actually honest and straight with each other? Do you think that's possible?
I think it's absolutely possible. I'm extremely outgoing and usually over honest. Okay. I don't have a problem telling the truth about what's going on, or if this is working or if this isn't working, or how I feel, or anything. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What kind of behaviors besides lying and guys getting drunk, what else do you see that goes on in the bars that you find questionable?
I think the best part about, or the worst part about being in a bar would be the noise level. It's hard to communicate with anyone on any kind of intellectual level when there is music pounding in the background. It's a good place, I guess, to meet people because that's where people are, but it's not a good place to develop anything.
Right. Do you think bars are expected to be places where people hook up and where there's going to be going out and getting laid at the end of the night?
I definitely think there's some people out there that go to the bar with the expectation to go home with someone, but I wouldn't say for women that is majority of women's goal.
Would that be more of a man's goal to go and do that?
I would say yes.
That's right. Right. And do you think men succeed at that?
Some men do, yes. Yeah. I've definitely seen some of my girlfriends go home with some men.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're breaking the girl code of leaving with guys?
No, I wouldn't say that there's a girl code specifically to that. I like to think that us girls like to support the other girls, but there's a lot of creepy guys out there too, so.
Right, for sure. Yeah. And you really don't know who you're talking to, and especially if they're lying and they're not being honest and straight with you. Okay. So have you had experience with online dating?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And what are the pros and the cons of online dating?
The pros would be the mass amount of people you get to view at one time. You know that they're all single, or at least would hope so. You can read a little bit about them before actually making contact. The cons are it's hard to really communicate through text. It's difficult to express exactly what you're saying. I may say one thing one way, and you may take it the other way, whether it be the way you want to take it or the wrong way. Right. Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been let down when you meet someone online and then when you finally actually connect with them and then realize they're not who you think they are?
I would say out of 20 online dates, maybe 2 are reasonably successful.
Really? Okay, so that's a really low, that's like 5%.
Yeah. 5%? Yeah, 10%.
So when it comes to, what else do I want to ask about online dating? How do you feel about the time commitment when it comes to doing online dating?
I guess the majority of the time I spent online dating was just like evenings and weekends. I'd check my emails. I wouldn't really spend a lot of time, and maybe that wasn't why I wasn't getting the high quality men. But I guess as a business professional, my days are consumed but with work or whatnot, and you just fit it in when you can, which is the one nice thing about online dating. It's there when you are there, right? Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I've heard a lot of people complain about online dating, that it's very time consuming and it also doesn't really leave you that further ahead until you meet someone. So it's it takes a lot of effort and time, and then you don't know if the actual person you're going to meet is someone that you're going to want to have more connection with.
Absolutely. I think the hardest thing about online dating is really describing yourself, right? When you're filling out that profile, it can take hours just to try and determine what are the good things about me without sounding cocky, what are the bad things about me without sounding like you're a horrible person. Right. So it's a lot of time, I think, with self-doubt rather than once you're finally set up. But then again, if 18 out of 20 people are a bad fit, that's 18 dates you're going on. That's a lot of...
And all the back work to get to that and to find them and whatnot. I understand you have a 22-minute date. Would you care to share that story?
I met a guy online, and we started communicating. He sounded like a business professional and sounded like a reasonably smart guy. And so he asked me out on a date, and I said, sure, why not? Where would you like to go? And he said, let's go for a coffee. Let's go to Timmy's. And I said, okay.
The fact that he also decided, he didn't ask you, he just kind of dictated where it's going to be.
Yeah, he told me we were going to Timmy's, so that's good. It would have been nice to ask for my opinion, but it's not the end-all be-all. So we went to Timmy's. We pulled in. He was playing video games on his phone. So, I met him there, and he was playing video games on his phone when I walked up. And so we introduced ourselves, sat down. He talked a little bit about what he did for a living. Well, I talked about myself a little bit. He didn't really ask me any questions. And then it was about 18 minutes in when he told me that he wasn't quite taking music seriously yet, but he was going to be a rock star.
Going to be a rock star one day.
Be a rock star. So about 3 minutes later, I found myself leaving Timmy's.
Right. It wasn't to someone that showed a lot of promise and whatnot. Right. Okay. So some of my other questions are going to be about actually meeting guys and talking to guys. And one of the things I hear quite a bit is women's impression on confidence and having confident men. So what's your impression of men who are confident versus not being confident?
I would say probably all the men I've ever dated have been confident. There's few men out there that I will approach. I mean, generally when a woman approaches a man, it's because they find them extremely attractive or there is something about them. The average man I wouldn't approach, usually just because they don't catch my attention.
So it's the guy's job to approach a woman.
Yes. Usually it would be I guess I would say it's almost a turn on to be approached by a man.
Oh, okay. So confidence is sexy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What do you think about whose job it is really to ask to establish the date and whatnot? That's the man's job also, you would say?
I wouldn't say it would be his job, but it would definitely be you consider yourself when you go on a date, it's like a race. I consider it a race. It's a race between a bad date and a good date. Now, every step forward on the good side leads to going on a second date. Every step forward on the bad side leads to not going on a second date. So if the guy asks you, that's a step forward on the good side. If I have to ask the guy, it's maybe not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not a good thing.
He's not helping himself if you're having to do the work.
Absolutely.
I see. Okay, that makes sense. What do you dislike about it when men hit on you? What do they do that's not cool, or when guys are wanting to ask you out, but how do they not help themselves when they want to ask you out?
I would say probably it'd be the men that are too persistent or too cocky. So if a man approaches me and asks me out and I say no thank you, that means for some reason I'm not interested. It's a huge turn off to have a guy follow you, say, around a bar and ask you to dance 8 times. And if I'm going to let you dance with me, it's going to be out of pity, and that's going to be it. Additionally, the opposite, if you're having a good conversation with someone and then they feel like they have to overly impress you and just not be themselves, like, I'm the best at this, I'm the best at that, oh, you should have seen me do this, you should have seen me do that. That's not really what I'm looking for. That's a very big turnoff.
So there's a definite fine line between being confident and not being arrogant, and not having confidence at all. So not having enough confidence is a turnoff, and having too much confidence or arrogance is also a turnoff. Do you see a lot of guys trying to impress you with what they've done and what they've accomplished?
There's a couple, definitely. Everybody feels like they got to put their best foot forward, but what you should be considering your best foot is yourself, who you are as a person, not what you've accomplished. It's nice to touch bases on what you do for a profession, your history, maybe some key points in what you've done and you've really enjoyed, but to tell me that you placed first on your, I don't know, dirt biking race 3 years ago is not really going to impress me.
Right, it's kind of old history and whatnot. What have you done now? Okay. So when it comes to actually being in relationships with men, what do you want from a guy in a relationship?
Just a guy to treat me respectfully, be honest with me, be open, be himself, and believe that a relationship is work. It's never easy on either buddy's party. Nobody is exactly the same. Some people squeeze the toothpaste tube at the end, some people squeeze the toothpaste tube in the middle. And it's the adaptability to be able to amalgamate together. And the acceptability, like the I'm not perfect, you're not perfect. You have to forgive me when I screw up, and I have to forgive you when you screw up. But as long as you try to not do that again, then the relationship should develop and work.
So it's moving forward because you're actually learning where the sticking points, where the pain points are, and able to move forward on that. What does it mean to be respected by a guy in a relationship?
Well, I guess everyone goes to the open the door. Every man has to open a door for a woman. I'm not a strong believer in that. Don't get me wrong. When a guy opens my car door, it's very, very nice, but it's not something I look for in a guy. It's just
It's not a deal breaker.
No, it's not a deal breaker. It's 50-50 over you pay or I forgot my wallet. It's I'll drive this time because you drove last time. It's hey, can I help you with that? Or how was your day? That kind of stuff. Not just open to everything rather than just so self-absorbed.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you. Those are really good information, I'm sure, for the guys listening.